This is Chapter 13, Section 1, and it's on ecologists study relationships. And the key concept here is that ecology is the study of the relationships among organisms and their environment. So in this picture, you have this little bird hopping up here and trying to grab this fish. So we got two organisms, and they're interacting in their environment. Code word ABC 123. Or for my Spanish students, ABC uno dos tres. All right, so way back when, talking, you know, before the 1850s, biologists just studied organisms just singularly, so they would just study this one bear or they would study this one fish. And they wouldn't really take into consideration the fact that this bear eats this fish and that other things eat this fish, and that these organisms, all of life is interconnected with each other. You could think of it like a spider web where all these different plants and animals interact with each other and they influence one another. But that was a foreign concept until a guy named Ernst Haeckel in the mid 19th century proposed that the term ecology, proposed this field of study called ecology, where we begin to consider how a living thing like a bear is going to affect the population of a fish, which in turn affects the population of other things in the environment. So related to this idea and kind of getting an idea of some of the basics of ecology is what are called levels of organization. So the smallest level is going to be an organism. And again, that's what biologists used to just solely study biology as. It was just studying one single organism. It was kind of like almost like collecting Pokemon cards or collecting playing cards. They would just go on these voyages of these ships traveling the world, and they would, I'm going to take a sample of this beetle, I'm going to take a sample of this fish, and we would just kind of catalog these different organisms without taking into consideration how they interact with other ones. Code word hammer. All right, so organism, just one thing, and then a population. So one thing like an alligator, and then a population is when you take all of the alligators. So these three alligators are going to make up a population. Or if you think of you, you're one human being, and then think of the city you live in, where you have the population of that city. So that's the second level. Then the third level is a community. So a community is whenever you take all the different populations, so the alligators, the different types of fish, the different types of plants, and you combine them all together. So we have these different kinds of birds. Looks like we got a boat here with some people on it. So once you combine all the populations together, you make a community. And then finally, an ecosystem is the broadest level. And that's going to be whenever you consider all of the communities, all of the living things in an area, as well as the non-living things, like your rocks and your water, the things that are essential for the living things to survive and to thrive. However, they aren't things that are necessarily required. Code word time. Aora, if you will. Okay, and I lied. The largest one is biome. So once you get above ecosystem, you get into the idea of a biome. And a biome is kind of getting into the overall climate that all the different ecosystems make up. So if you look right here at this map, this was a savanna, subtropical savanna biome. And so, as the definition says here, it's primarily getting into like the weather and the types of temperature and the amount of rain that occur in these different ecosystems. And it's especially defined by the number of plant communities, that the different types of plants are going to be able to live in those areas. Okay, that'll do it for this one.